one of my other incarnations, I covered strikes and in the street activism, and I also was a part of the Occupy Wall Street movement. And you could really feel when you walked into the area, when you walk into an area where people are striking, you can feel the beautiful solidarity between human beings. And that is why I think these violent forces on the right of corporatism, wherever they're coming from, seek to really crush that, because that is the emergence of the human spirit. And, a capitalist system can't have you recognizing that the richness of life comes from the brotherhood of men, of, they say your fellow man, but your fellow woman and your fellow man.
Your fellow
They
person.
Your
Yeah.
fellow person. Thank you. Yes, exactly. So I really think that one of the reasons they work so hard to crush this is not because they even want to save that dollar an hour, but because they want to disempower people and make sure there's no real space other than what you're allowed to have in your space, your family. That's it. Of unity.
That's right. And I think one of the reasons that all the corporations that are big, at least publicly, condemned the actions of January 6th at the Capitol is they don't want people out of control. It's fine if Trump continues and gives them the tax cut that is a windfall forever, depriving everyone else, and doesn't do a thing about their offshore accounts where they stash most of their billions. That's fine. Let him continue. He's a little distasteful. But once he gets people ignited to act, he's out on his ass. And if things are too hard, like they were in Germany in the 1930s, then they take the risk of a controlled fascist movement. This wasn't even a controlled fascist movement. There were some obvious controlled fascists who planned it, who ran the buses, who had their handcuffs, who knew whose members made reconnaissance photos and gave them pathways to where the
Yeah,
senators
where
were
the
meeting.
senators were hiding and meeting in their secret offices and whatnot.
Right, and pulled out the panic buttons in Ayanna Pressley and others' offices, and
Oh,
also
I didn't know about
who
that.
yes, Ayanna Pressley made a public complaint that she went to push the panic buttons. Somebody ripped them out of the wall. Someone
Wow.
was working inside in a well organized way. But most of these people were a very undisciplined, enraged force, and corporations don't want that. However, they did want them to be misinformed. They wanted them to think that Antifa is terrible. Actually, we fought World War II on Antifa. We were against the fascists.
Yeah.
And
Actually, Antifa is not even a group. It's just an ideology that you might say, yeah, I'm
right,
not into fascism.
right.
That's it. That's what that is.
Government is your enemy when the most popular president we ever had was FDR, big government. Otherwise, we couldn't have had all of his wonderful programs. At any rate, they didn't want to see these unruly people because they want control and they want people home watching TV and watching TV ads and consuming expensive junk food and obeying the status quo and not speaking out about what bothers them. And so they condemned these people. This was not to their liking. And since they were organized by fascists, it was hardly to our liking either. But your point is so important. In the 30s, what gave people the strength to march by the thousands in New York and elsewhere for jobs and joining the biggest, most powerful union ever, the CIO of all these different areas, was a sense of these three things: a purpose in life, an identity as a worker and a fighter and a leftist, and
It's
also a community.
mm.